Hello, I'm Richard Hooper and this is SatTV Week. Now I'm pleased to be joined by Scott Sprague of ABS. Scott, you've just announced a recent agreement with Boeing for 4 electric satellites. What's that about and how's that progressing?
Well, first of all, Richard, thanks for having me here today. The Boeing deal for ABS is quite exciting. I mean, as you may know, we did this sort of joint procurement with SatMex. So what Boeing had required in order for us to facilitate this was a minimum of order of 4 satellites, and they wanted it to be, if you will, from one entity. So we created this joint procurement, if you will, JV with SatMex, who also had a requirement for this size satellite. And what we're going to do is we've already committed to 2 out of the 4 satellites, SatMex to 1 of the 4. And then the 4th satellite will either go to us or to SatMex, depending on the requirements of the business. But there is a commitment for 4 for the first order, and then we have an option for 4 additional satellites after that. And they are the electronic propulsion satellites, which will basically decrease the weight of the satellite by about 30 to 40%. That will allow us to do a sort of a dual launch scenario with SpaceX, which is also part of this overall package. And so, I think for ABS, what it does is it allows us to bring capacity into orbit at about a savings of 30 to 40% from a normal procurement and launch that you see today. And we should be able to pass those savings on to our customers.
Right. Now, you also have plans for a new Playout Center at the Sprague.
Right.
Why?
What we've seen is, what we want to continue to do, what we've seen is that our customers continue to look for ways to help us facilitate access to our fleet. And with when we acquired the Mabuhay assets from PLDT, we acquired both the satellite, the slots, and the playout facility. The facility itself, it didn't really have much of a playout facility to start with. 2 things that are very, I think, well grounded in the Philippines are you have a very good base of highly educated employees there, but you also have the ability to have a very cost-effective service from the Philippines. So our cost basis in the Philippines will be very, very competitive in the marketplace, but I think we can provide a very high-quality service at a very low cost. And Richard, this sort of dovetails into the whole philosophy of ABS, which is the corporation itself was started sort of with a low-cost model that they developed using the LMI-1 satellite at 75 degrees. But then what you've seen is the subsequent satellites that we've acquired, they've been able to do it in a very cost-effective way. And so that's allowed us to do 2 things. It's allowed us to bring cost-effective solutions to our customers, but also establish neighborhoods at the various orbital slots that we've started to develop. And now we have the follow-on strategy with ABS-2 and the new Boeing satellites.
Now, you're talking about ABS philosophy.
Yeah.
You are actually relatively new to the company.
I am.
What have you been brought in to do?
All right. I think what I'm good at is very different than what the team, and especially what Tom Choi has done with ABS. I mean, the ABS organization was very entrepreneurial, very, very creative on how they acquired the assets, acquired the orbital locations, and started the company. My strengths are execution and focus from a sales and a commercial perspective. So that's really what I've been brought in to do, is to look at how do we execute the strategy and the tactical plan that these folks have put together. How do we grow the company from a global perspective, both deploying resources, building a team, and acquiring customers on a global basis. And that's basically what I was responsible for at New Skies and then SES over the last 10 years.
Now, as I say, you're relatively new to ABS, but what do you think are going to be the trends in the satellite industry going forward?
Specifically on a global basis, or
more of a regional
basis? A regional basis. So if I think about the Asian region, I think first of all, Asia is it's unique and it's an interesting market because there is no sort of an Asia trend. It's very specific to individual countries and marketplaces. So if you look at somewhere like India, we continue to see a dramatic growth in DTH. There's over 1 million new subscribers a month there. So the Indian marketplace continues to require additional KU band capacity. But at the same time, we see dramatic growth in the VSAT networks in India. And I think that will continue for a number of years. On in the individual other markets, such as in Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, you're starting to see new entrants into the DTH market. And so I think we'll see growth there. You'll continue to see growth in the Philippines, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea for VSAT networks, just based on the geographical diversity of the marketplace itself. And so we see different opportunities in different parts of the market. In some markets, it's very, very challenging. Japan and Korea, I mean, they have very strong satellite operators in those markets, and they're very well served. And in other markets, I think that there's some real greenfield opportunities there.
Now, next 12 months, dynamic market.
Right.
But what are ABS's plans?
I think for ABS, next 12 months will be very transformational. In May, June of next year, we'll launch ABS-2. So it'll be the first satellite that we've built ourselves. It'll be launched on an Ariane rocket. It's a L'Oreal satellite with 89 transponders at 75 degrees, so our sort of prime key orbital location. That really transforms the company at that point. It frees up also ABS-1 and 1A for different missions. And at the moment, the plan is to move ABS-1 to 3 degrees west, where we started to develop our business in Africa. We'll continue to develop and strengthen that business in Africa, but now we'll have a footprint into Latin America. So in the next 12 months, what we want to do is strengthen the core business we have, expand into the Latin American market, and as well as progress the 2 programs for the Boeing satellites.
Scott, thank you very much.
You're welcome.